Howdy! This is Ad Analysis coming at you live from outside the headquarters of NEOCRAFT Limited. I just so happened to have stolen some secret documents after investigating the place, and while I successfully got out, well, I should mention that I am currently being chased by hundreds of NEOCRAFT Limited employees. I guess whatever are in these documents must be vital information. Before I read this info though, I gotta chase these guys off first, so while I'm doing that, why don't I go over the story that is NEOCRAFT Limited's shady advertisement practices. Oh, and before we get into the video, I do want to quickly say thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers.
Is that all?
And don't worry, that's not it. I have a bunch of things to say regarding the 1K celebration, but I thought it would be best to leave that at the end of the video so that the relevancy of this video, being NEOCRAFT Limited, stays as its primary focus. I do hope you stick around till the end of the video to check out my special announcements, but for now, let's just get started with the analysis.
Don't they know I'm busy spoiling myself?
Howdy! This is Ad Analysis coming at you. Well now, where do we begin? Of course, let's start with the company itself. NEOCRAFT Limited is a mobile gaming company that specializes in both MMO-style games, as well as translated versions of games, more on that later in the video. Currently, they have 3 games to their roster: Tales of Wind, Immortal Destiny, and Eternal Sword M, which, in case you're wondering what the M stands for, I personally couldn't find an answer for it, though if I were to have to guess, I'd say it either indicates that it's a mobile game or that it's an MMO. Or both, of course. If anyone would like to leave a comment with the correct answer, feel free to do so. Anyway, for the sake of this video, I will eventually only be going over Tales of Wind and Eternal Sword M, though do note that Immortal Destiny does contain ads like the ones you're later gonna see in the video. I personally just haven't seen a lot from them. NEOCRAFT Limited also had a now removed game called Overlords of Oblivion, and have a game in the works called Chronicles of Infinity. Anyway, NEOCRAFT Limited founded in 2017 based on their Facebook page, which funny enough was the only place I could find this information. I couldn't even find their founding date on their own website. Speaking of their website, now that we've gone through the background information of this company, let's take a look at a little more interesting information about this company. But before we do, I want to stop the video right here to explain something. Do keep in mind that unless stated specifically that what I say is 100% factual, please understand that everything else mentioned in this video in regards to NEOCRAFT Limited are simply observations, theories, and assumptions. Also, please note that the department of NEOCRAFT Limited that I am specifically criticizing in this video is primarily the advertisement and marketing team. The rest of NEOCRAFT Limited either is not problematic, or I just do not know enough about them to properly criticize. I have to mention these things for both the clarification for you guys, as well as the protection for myself. So one more time, unless stated otherwise, the info I provide is opinionated, and the department specifically targeted is the marketing department. Okay, on with the video. So, about that interesting information. It's first worth pointing out that this is indeed a Chinese company, if you couldn't have guessed that already, of course. Specifically, Shanghai, China. Of course, that means that laws regarding deceptive advertising that we have to follow in America and Europe are not as present in China, which is why you're going to see some of the ads that you will see later in the video. I find it funny that they have long life cycle games, despite their only game having a start and end date only lasting for less than 2 years. And the rest of their games not even breaking over 3 years yet. When I think long-term cycles, I don't think 2 or 3 years, but I guess we can only wait to see with their current running titles. I also found it odd that the next game they plan on working on after, I assume, Chronicles of Infinity, is a game called Ever Adventure, which is already a game. So I wonder how that's going to work out for them. Now, let me get into what most of you are probably noticing from this About page. NEOCRAFT Limited claims that their team is led by a Blizzard China founder, and has employees ranging from Apple, Ubisoft, Blizzard, Tencent, and even Coca-Cola and McKinsey. Now, first and foremost, let me remind you all that these are just observations and not facts. But with that being said, I find it awfully odd, to say the least, that despite the mention of the Blizzard China founder and the head of World of Warcraft China, There is no mention of this founder's name anywhere on their own website. Some companies have a staff list on their website so that every employee is credited, but some companies don't, and it's clear that this company doesn't, which by all means is fine, but it's strange that they throw out these big names like Blizzard, Apple, Ubisoft, among many others, as well as the CEO of Blizzard without actually giving any real names. The claim of their CEO without an actual name is the biggest mind-boggler to me, and in regards to the employees, when they say Apple, for example, do they mean a big-time developer in Apple's development cycle, or are they referring to a basic Apple employee who worked at the Apple store in the mall for a couple months? Again, it's not like they have to display any names, it just comes off as questionable considering the big titles they're showing up front like that. Not to mention, based on the ads that will be shown soon in the video, it can't be helped that these claims come off as untrustworthy, as that's nothing short of what their ads are all about. Untrustworthy. Speaking of those ads, by the way, I'm sure you're all eager to see what they're all about, so without further ado, let's get into them, shall we?
This mobile game is above industry level.
So, as a good starting ground, we'll first take a look at Tales of Win, which in regards to their currently active games, has been their longest running. Now, these Tales of Win ads that you're about to see are actually both what got me into analyzing bad advertisements and into making this channel. Ever since their ads started popping up, I've held a strong resentment towards this company, and I'm sure you will as well after this video. To start, let's look at the first one that I've ever seen. Do keep in mind, some of these ads aren't the best quality, as I had to get some of them from other people on YouTube, so I do apologize for that. Anyway, here's the first ad. Now to some of you, you might be wondering what's the problem with this ad. The answer is that not only is this all fake gameplay, but everything with the exception of the UI screen is stolen. The song, which I actually overlaid as I don't want to get this video claimed, is a song called Bass in Your Face by Chunny T. Furthermore, the gameplay that you're seeing is an actual game. It's from a Steam game known as Kurtzpell. While I finish talking about this ad, I'll have some gameplay I recorded running of Kurtzpell. Anyway, this is what I find to be the most scummy in any advertisement. Hell, those pull the pin ads that you always see, in my opinion, are nothing compared to this, as it not only incorrectly displays what the gameplay is like, but it also does the original game, Kurtzpell, no service either. Not only is NEOCRAFT Limited trying to paint the picture that they made this, especially shown through their use of overlaying their own UI screen on the gameplay, but for those who downloaded the game wanting to play what they were watching, all that happens is Tales of Win gets one extra download and Kurtzpell gets nothing, as the ad does not explain anywhere what the real game is actually called. So in other words, the viewer is left without knowing what the actual game is. Kurtzpell just lets its gameplay be used to make another company's game thrive, and well, Tales of Win thrives. Anyway, that's all to really say on this one. Let's take a look at the next ad.
I will always be by your side. A fool can never become a man.
Saving life is my vocation.
So, just as a rule of thumb, if you ever see a mobile game ad that shows gameplay with motion blur and quality shaders like that, it's safe to assume that gameplay is more times than not fake. And by more times than not, I mean almost certainly fake. Hell, compare this to something like, I don't know, Minecraft with shaders. This actually looks superior, so is it real? Probably not. And in this case, it is definitely not. Now, I'm not entirely sure on the animations in this ad, as in, I don't know if they use it in the actual game or not, but I can tell you for sure that they do not use the background that you're seeing, and they do not include this level of motion blur quality, shading quality, texture quality, and other qualities. While later in the video we'll be looking at the actual gameplay of Tales of Wind, for now let me show you a comparison of this ad's character selection screen with the actual game's character selection screen. Clearly, they're not the same by a long shot. Don't get me wrong, it still looks fine, and that's what makes it all the more confusing as to why they didn't just show their actual gameplay of this screen. It looks fine enough to garner players' attention, so why didn't they use it? Anyway, there's not much more to show about this ad, so let's take a look at the final one.
This mobile game, is above industry level. First of all, let me show you the graphics. This game is designed to be a real MMO, so our most hardcore players can feast while enjoying it. We have strategically designed stages, very challenging boss fights, and not only an immersive story, but one that also had a few plot twists. Trust me, this game has it all.
Now, where do I even begin with this one? I want to start off by saying that, and do keep in mind that this is again just an observation, but I personally find it hard to believe that this ad was intended to be a joke, despite how it seems like a joke. I personally believe that they were going for a realistic approach to this, even though the green screen is god-awful. Which, back to that note of their elite team of developers, despite having a billion-dollar company CEO apparently running NEOCRAFT Limited, this was the level of quality they were able to produce from this. I'm sure now you can all see why that just seems off. But anyway, let's point out the elephant in the room, in case you haven't noticed it already. Here's a side-by-side of this ad along with Keanu Reeves' presentation of Cyberpunk 77. Yes, this isn't a joke. They literally green screened themselves over Keanu's presentation of goddamn Cyberpunk 77 for their fake gameplay ad of all things. Do I need to say more about how much I don't like this company? Anyway, the only other thing to mention is that, as I said before, the gameplay they're showing in their fake presentation isn't even real gameplay. Again, it's fake, and while I personally don't recognize the footage, considering their ad that stole footage from Kurtzpell, who knows if this as well is an actual game. This of course was only a taste of what these ads are like, as there are loads more that I unfortunately couldn't find myself, but they're there, trust me. I think that these 3 ads, and this screenshot you're seeing on screen, were a good enough representation of what to expect from this company's marketing team, so I don't think we need to go further anyway for this game. So with that being said, let's just take a quick look at what the actual gameplay is like. I really wish I could have shown you guys the in-game audio for this, but unfortunately the game lagged like balls for me on BlueStacks, and I couldn't find any gameplay anywhere on YouTube without the in-game music. The last thing I want to do is put any of NEOCRAFT Limited songs in this video because, well, you know.
It's free real estate.
Anyway, I'll link a video in the description of this gameplay with the audio, but for now, just take my word when I say this game's voice acting is bad. I'm talking, I will fight for you kind of bad. The reason I'm mentioning the audio first is because of something I mentioned earlier in the video, where NEOCRAFT Limited makes MMOs as well as translated games. Tales of Wind is the translated game I was referring to. You see, Tales of Wind is simply the Western server variant of the game Laplace M, which was created by Zilong Games. You may know these guys when they made the game Langrisser, but anyway, do note that there's nothing wrong with what's being done here. Zilong Games made the game, and NEOCRAFT Limited most likely acquired the rights to create a global version. With that being said, I felt this was absolutely worth mentioning, as NEOCRAFT Limited didn't even make this game, yet put it to shame with their awful ads. And don't take that at face value, as there's always the chance that NEOCRAFT and Zilong Games worked on this game together or something. Anyway, back to the voice acting. I feel it's worth criticizing because this game only had 2 jobs, to translate and to dub. There are some translation issues, but more importantly, this game's dub, as mentioned before, is horrendous. Aside from that though, I honestly think this is a pretty good game in terms of gameplay. For a phone game, the graphics are nice, the manual combat is enjoyable, and the enemies you fight are full of variety. If this wasn't a translated version of an already existing game, I would have had to give props to NEOCRAFT Limited. Well, I think we've talked enough about Tales of Wind. Let's move on to Eternal Sword M, shall we? With that out of the way, the second and final game we'll be showing from this company is Eternal Sword M. Let's just spend no time giving an introduction and get right into it.
Ladies and gentlemen who are joining us from around the world, we have spent over 4 years developing this game, and I can promise you it is way above the industry average level. With a strategically designed stage, challenging boss fights, plot-twisting background story, and more. You can meet players from your team, your squad, and your guild, and you can play in an open world together.
Jesus, dude. You see what I mean by them trying to make it look like it's real? This time they actually went through the effort of trying to raise the quality so that you visibly can't notice the green screen when you're looking at it on a tiny phone. However, they clearly put no time into the logistics of this fake presentation, as when the screen showing the gameplay switches to covering the whole entire screen, his perspective completely changes, going from the right side of the screen to the left. The incompetence and inconsistency is absurd in this marketing team. Anyway, I will give credit where credit's due. This time, they actually show real gameplay. Granted, most of it is the character selection screen, but yes, everything they showed is legitimate. And it's so sad I have to say that I have to give credit to them for not showing fake or stolen gameplay this time. Which, on that note, here's an ad showing fake gameplay.
Life again, an eternal sword.
Not only is the gameplay fake in this one, but even the UI in this ad, which up until this point has always been theirs, isn't even accurate to the real game. Even the sound effects, 90% of what I heard are generic stock sound effects that you can easily find on YouTube. The only thing about this ad that's legitimate is their logo flying across the screen for the entirety of the video, which at some points it looks like they're trying to imitate the DVD screensaver, but then it just jerks onto the other side of the screen. I genuinely have no clue what they were trying to go with that. And I hope to God it's not their way of making sure nobody steals this from them and uses it in their own ad, because holy hell, that would be ironic. Anyway, I'll just talk over the next ad as it's just another one featuring fake gameplay. I'd like to take this opportunity to ask if you're enjoying this type of content where I examine and analyze mobile game ads and take the piss out of them. Feel free to subscribe, as that's all this channel is about, and I'd like to one day pursue this channel full time. And by you subscribing, you're helping me reach that future ever so closer, and in return, of course, you'll get content that you hopefully find enjoyable. Despite, of course, the complete opposite of enjoyment that are these mobile game ads. Anyway, on to the last ad.
Wait, what?
Live your life again, an eternal sword.
Now look, I don't necessarily have a problem with companies using YouTubers' footage of them playing their game, as it's only fair that in return for them making content off their game, they can use ads off of that specific content. However, and I truly hope all of you understand this before I even mention this, none of these clips have anything to do with Eternal Sword M, or at least as far as I'm aware. Maybe one of them do, I'm not sure, as I don't recognize some of these people here. But from the looks of it, the marketing team of Eternal Sword M took a bunch of random clips off YouTube of people losing their minds and throwing all of them together in a horrible blend. Not to mention, I had to literally turn down the volume of this ad during editing, and I can only imagine how many people sat there in pain when this ad popped up, as the marketing team didn't even bother to make it a reasonable DB level. The thing that gets me the most about this ad is two people specifically in it. First, the YouTuber and streamer Nepesta, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, who is the main focus of the ad here. Nepesta had this reaction not from Eternal Sword M, of course, but rather from completing an insanely difficult geometry dash level that apparently took him 135,230 attempts to complete. That was the cause of his reaction, not this game, and yet this company took it and used it to try and somehow hype up their own game. Despite, in my personal opinion, without the proper context of the original Nepesta video, this just comes off as annoying rather than hype. Furthermore, I want to mention Etika, who was crammed in the middle there. Etika is a YouTuber who passed away last year from suicide. Now, if this ad was made before his passing, that'd be one thing. But as far as I'm aware, it wasn't. It was made much later. This shows just how much this marketing team really cares about what they're doing, because either they didn't take any time whatsoever to look into the YouTubers' reactions that they were using, or they just used it anyway and could care less because it's haha loud funny man Etika. As someone who was a big fan of him, it sucks to see a company do this. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not the worst thing in the world to use footage of Etika nowadays, but it's just the fact that there's a chance they probably don't even know who Etika is, and just took a loud YouTuber reaction compilation as their source. For me, it just bothers me, and was honestly the reason I wanted to make this video dissecting this whole company rather than just one of their games, because it's not just this, it's almost all of their ads they've made. They abuse any laws they don't have to follow and get away with it every time. And as a result, their games get millions of downloads. Anyway, before I ramble on too much, let's just take a look at what the actual gameplay of Eternal Sword M is like, and then move on to the overall conclusion. Just like Tales of Wind, I think this game is honestly pretty damn good for a mobile game. The graphics, animations, and models don't look outdated, and the music in this game actually blew me away with how good it was. Had this game not left a bad taste in my mouth thanks to those ads, I would say this game is a good 7 or 8 out of 10, and so it's a shame to see such a well-made game be the result of revolting ads like the one showed previously. The only gripe I personally had while trying this game out, which was no surprise to be honest based on what Tales of Wind was like, was that voice acting. It was again awful. To be fair though, there certainly isn't a reason why you can't turn off the in-game dialogue. Regardless though, from this gameplay you can obviously see that those ads which I said were fake gameplay is indeed fake gameplay, and it's no surprise considering the graphics from those ads looked like they would turn my computer into a freaking toaster. Well, that about sums it up, doesn't it? But I'm not done yet. Let's discuss the overall conclusion of everything you just watched, shall we?
For if by some minute chance you meet the challenge, your reward will be great. Behold!
4 years developing this game, and I can promise you.
Whoopsie. Now behold.
First, I'd like to say, if you made it this far, thank you, and I'm glad to know that I was able to keep your interest throughout the video. Now, from what we've seen, with the exception of the marketing department, it doesn't seem like any other department in NEOCRAFT Limited are necessarily a bad department, and so it's truly a shame to see the rest of the company be associated with the marketing department. With that being said, you would normally think, well, why aren't they fired and replaced? And to that I say, believe it or not, the marketing department might be doing exactly what the entirety of NEOCRAFT Limited wants. This is just a theory to clarify, but it is possible that the marketing department just had to create ads that caught the viewer's attention, and oh boy did they do just that. Of course though, there are plenty of good ways to catch someone's attention in an actual good ad, but sadly these guys took the easy way out. They cared less about their reputation if it meant getting those downloads, and the worst part of all of this, god damn did they get those downloads. We're talking millions. Anyway, as for their about page, where they claim they have employees and leads from big name companies, when just looking at the games themselves, I could believe that honestly, but then it's shot right to the ground when you look at the company's advertisements, aka what gives an impression for everyone, are as scummy and poorly made as they are. Again, I get it's China, but I just can't possibly imagine the CEO of another billion-dollar company being absolutely okay with advertisements like this, especially when said CEO has the final say in everything. Another thing I want to mention regarding that is that while I didn't show a lot of ads with the two of them in it, when you come across more ads from these games, you'll start to see these two guys pop up frequently. These two you'll recognize from the presentation ads. These two, whether separate or together, are in a lot of NEOCRAFT limited ads, which leads me to believe that they're most likely the people creating these ads, as they don't necessarily seem like the paid actor type. Because it's usually these two guys whenever they make an ad featuring a person in it. I can't help but wonder if they're the entirety of the marketing department, which follows up the idea that if two guys are working on all these ads, is this company as really big as and elite as they claim they are? Again, for clarification, this is merely an observation or a theory, so please don't take this observation as factual. Usually at the end of my ad analysis videos, I like to give a score out of 10 for the ads and overall game. However, for this instance, I don't feel a score is necessary. I can only assume that everyone watching after finishing this video would hopefully not want to support this company anymore, so giving a score to determine if downloading these games are worth it or not isn't really needed. However, what I will do is tell you what's in these secret documents. It took a whole 20 or so minutes, but I was finally able to shake off the mob. So, let's take a look-see here and... Oh my god! The M in Eternal Sword M stands for Mermaid Man. Oh, wait, sorry, Wumbo! Hey, thanks for watching the video. Now, let's begin with the 1K celebration, baby! Let me start off by saying, I'm truly grateful for those of you who have and are watching my videos, because without your support, these videos probably would have stopped coming a long time ago, as starting this channel was just a fun little idea. But now that I see that people are really enjoying this content, I absolutely love the idea of making these kind of videos for years to come. So again, thank you guys so much, and thank you for sharing the channel enough to reach my first big milestone of 1,000 subscribers. That's like a whole 27th of my hometown. Subscribe to me! I look forward to continuing this content and reaching the next big milestone, of course, that being 10K. I'll do my best to try and get that to happen hopefully by the end of the year, but for now, I am more than happy with 1K. Oh, and also, I want to thank you guys for helping me get my first sponsor. Please enjoy this short video I made of today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by me. Ha, gotcha. Now that we're here though, might as well give an exclusive trailer of the Ad Analysis Discord. Now hold on, I know what you're thinking. Well gee, Ad Analysis, there's millions of Discords out there. Why would I join yours of all of them? And to that I say, well, let's let the Discord do the talking. You see, unlike other Discord servers, our servers feature a wonderful and relaxing lounge area where you can talk about pretty much anything. The community here so far are incredibly nice and friendly, as you can see through these screenshots. As an example here, everyone is talking about how much they love my channel. Anyway, let's take a left here into the art station. If you're an artist, or just someone who likes to doodle and share their work, well, look no further, because here at the Ad Analysis Discord, we love to see your work. Unless it's hentai. We don't like hentai. Now here, if you take the next corner, you'll find the heart of the Ad Analysis Discord. Why, of course, I'm talking about the memes channel. Don't lie, you know you got a memes folder somewhere, so why not come and share it? Think about it. You post a meme, and somewhere out there, someone in the world will get a hee-hee-ha-ha out of it. So what's more to say about that? On top of that, if you take the flight of stairs over there, you'll find our suggestions page. Have you ever watched a video from Ad Analysis and thought, you know, I like this, but I'd like it more if blah 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 blah, say no more. Here you can give your suggestions, and believe it or not, I'm not like other YouTubers, because I actually read the suggestions. I know, such an insane concept, but it's true. Oh, and don't worry, that's not all. Here at the Ad Analysis Discord, we got a bona fide, certified, fidified role system. Don't you hate being active in a Discord and not getting anything out of it? Well, that's not the case here, because here, we pay you to be active with real money. Just kidding, we don't actually. But as you passively chat away in our servers, you gain XP over time, and leveling up will occasionally increase your rank in the Discord, giving you access to a new role that'll let you say, hey, stop clowning on me, my role is better than yours. And hey, if you're active enough, one day you'll reach the rank Analysis Overlord. And if you go even further, well, then you're just a tryhard. But anyway, there's even more. That's right, plenty more. We're talking an optional update system to notify you when new videos come out, because God knows how bad YouTube's notifications are. We've got a place to plug whatever the hell you want. And we've got the Zone, where you can chill, stream, and queue up with some fellow gamers to play some games. And finally, if all of that wasn't enough for you, if you contribute by giving me your hard-earned cash through Discord Nitro, you get a special channel unlocked that'll let you, the epic viewer, decide on what videos come out. That's right, you can hold the fate of ad analysis in your own hands. So, what more is there to say? Come on down to the Ad Analysis Discord, link in the description, and join our ever-growing community of analyzers such as you and I. See you soon. Anyway, that's the trailer, and here's the outro. Roll it.